I'm talking about getting through a power outage that's a few days or maybe even longer, getting through it. I'm not talking about living in luxury, ladies and gentlemen. That's what preparedness is about. Some people can afford to put a solar energy system in their home that powers their entire house. They can afford the $100,000, but that's not what you're going to pay for this. You're going to get what you pay for, and in my opinion here, you're getting something that's going to help you get through a power outage, keep your essentials running, and even if you get good enough sun, maybe even do a load of laundry, in the dryer. So don't be disillusioned in what you're getting. I want to be as 100% honest with you as I can as to what it is that you're getting. I think it's a great machine at a great price, and that it does exactly what it's intended to do. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to do a review of the Oupes Mega 3 solar generator, and it's going to be unlike any review I've done before. Now if you look behind me, I have the Oupes Mega 3 sitting back there, and you may be asking yourself, man, that looks a lot like the Mega 5. They are very similar in appearance, but the Mega 3 has some things that it offers that in my opinion is better than the Mega 5. Now don't get me wrong, the Mega 5 is an awesome machine. It's a monster that comes with a little bit over 10,000 watt hours of storable energy. However, the Mega 3, ladies and gentlemen, is expandable to more than that. So stay tuned, we're going to talk about it, and I'm not going to be actually physically handling the Mega 3. This is one of the first, if not the first review video that I've ever done where I'm actually just going to go over everything with you on screen. Why is that? Because due to logistics issues, ladies and gentlemen, Oupes was not able to send me one of the external batteries for the Mega 3. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the Mega 5. However, there are a few differences, and one of the first ones is that this one only has a 3,000 watt hour capacity. The battery, ladies and gentlemen, is a LiFePO 4 battery that has 3,500 cycle rating, which means that you can discharge it and charge it 3,500 times before it starts losing capacity. Now, in my opinion, LiFePO 4 is the best battery in the solar generator industry right now until they come out with something that's newer that will stand the test of time. The input, ladies and gentlemen, is a max of 3,900 watts. 1,800 watts through your wall outlet and 2,100 watts through solar. However, realistically speaking, you're only going to do one or the other. I do like that the solar is a higher input than your AC input, because why do you have a solar generator? So that you can use the power of the sun to charge it during grid down. So being that this has a higher input from solar than your actual AC, I think that's a great thing. Now the UPS function on this, ladies and gentlemen, is superb. UPS stands for uninterrupted power supply, and this has a UPS function of 2,200 watts continuous, meaning that you can be pulling energy from the grid through this machine, bypassing the battery. And then if the grid goes down, as long as you have your appliances plugged into this machine, your appliance is going to keep running whether the grid is up or not. So putting it simply, as long as the grid is up, as long as you have electricity running to your power lines, then that means that the electricity is going to go through this machine, bypassing the battery into your appliance. If the electricity goes down from your power grid, your appliance is going to automatically switch to battery power off of the Mega 3. That's what UPS is, and it is awesome. I personally use UPS mostly for my computer right here. I have my computer plugged into my UPS solar generator, and if something happens with the grid, it goes down. I don't have to worry about my recording stopping. If I'm on a live stream, it glitching and stopping, it just continues to run. So UPS, and at 2,200 watts continuous, is pretty incredible. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why I really like Oupes so much is because they're so simple to use. If you take a look at the buttons here, it really has like 4 buttons. It has 5 buttons in total, but really 4. You've got your power button. You've got one button that turns on your USB, one that turns on your 12-volt cigarette lighter plus your 5521 outlets, and it also has a button that turns on your AC. You have 5 20 amp rated outlets and 130 amp rated outlets that you can use to connect to your house and or use to connect to like an RV, or if you want to independently use that outlet to like run your dryer, you can. I may run my dryer off of this just for the heck of it to see how it works, but I just don't personally think that a solar generator is meant to run a dryer, but you can if you want. And then that other last button that you see right there next to the power button, that's just a button that allows your machine to become discoverable to your Bluetooth on your phone or your tablet if you want to go ahead and use the app that's available for the Mega 3. Now this here, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the external battery that it comes with, and each of these batteries are just a little over 2,000 watt hours. We're not going to talk about it too much right now. I want to wait until I get this battery in and I can actually handle it and hook it up to the machine and all that kind of stuff before I talk about it too much. But if you take a look at this battery, there's something on there that makes me very excited about it, and that is that not only can you charge it independently, meaning that you can take this outside, hook it up to a solar panel if you want, and charge it independently without it having to be hooked up to the system. I think that is great. But the other thing is that you can use the USB and the 12-volt function on this machine without having to have it hooked up to your main unit. Which means to me that if you want to just have a battery with you, let's say you're going on a camping trip or whatever, and you know you're going to need a battery for your USB devices, right? You can just take one of these batteries if you have multiple and have enough power to charge all of your USB devices over the weekend or even over a week, if that's how long you're going to be gone for. They put a lot into this, into their website. I think it looks great. But as you can see here, the Mega 3 is a 3,600 watt continuous, 3,000 watt hour battery capacity, and of course it's a lithium iron phosphate battery, LiPo 4, which in my opinion is probably the best in the industry. It's expandable all the way up to 15,000 watt hours, which is pretty awesome. Here it shows like 15 or 20 batteries, but remember that 6 batteries is what this takes right here. Now if you are interested in this, I am going to leave the link and a code that you can use for 10% off the Mega 3 or the Mega 5 if you want the Mega 5 instead. In my opinion, both are very good machines, good quality, and they're going to go ahead and take care of your power needs during some kind of a power failure. And ladies and gentlemen, the thing is that with the capability of these machines being able to charge so fast from the sun, I believe that if you live in an area where you have an abundance of sunlight, let's say 5 hours a day of good sunlight, you can pretty much run your whole house on one of these. So you can see here that the price is $20.99, but then if you use this code right here, let's see, Alaska Mega, they gave me a different code for this, and apply it, it should take 20% off. Now $18.89, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is a great price for this machine. However, if you do want to get something different, like let's say a Oupes 1200 or Oupes 1800, 2400, etc., you can still use the Alaska Prepper code right here, and that will give you 5% off the price. But definitely make sure that you use the Alaska Mega code off of any Mega machine that you may be getting, because that gives you 10% off, and you can see it's a great savings. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I didn't make this video too long. I want to thank Oupes very much for putting this product out there for people to take advantage of it if you want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want, let me go ahead and do my spiel. If you're in the market, ladies and gentlemen, all right, I'm not trying to make you buy something. I always get a comment like that here and there. If you're in the market, and many people often are. Why? Because electricity is something that we all need. We may want to think that we can get by without it, but ladies and gentlemen, in the end, we all need it in order to continue to live the standard of living that we enjoy today. Having said that, have a great rest of your day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.